Hey friends, in today's video I want to go over the TWAB. I was just about to hit start streaming and I saw there was a TWAB, and if I don't talk about it I'm just going to get asked about it 24/7. So I do have some notes just going over what I think was important. Starting with full auto is getting replaced on some exotic weapons. The notable one is Vigilant Swing. Also, Traveler's Chosen is really good for controller players. It can work on M&K. Glow recently has been using it on Shadebinder to some effect, and so Surplus gonna be noticeably nice. Vigilant Swing. This is the one I think is pretty cool. Ensemble kind of plays into the theme of Vigilant Swing. If we look in-game here for a second, when a nearby ally is killed, gain health regeneration and increase movement speed. So Vigilant Swing is strong when there's one on a team, but when there's three on a team, it's very hard to follow up kills because they're constantly healing. So anytime that there is a major pulse rifle nerf, Vigilant Swing seems to escape that said pulse rifle nerf and ends up being perpetually in the A tier. So I think if aggressive frames get hit, definitely try out Vigilant Swing, especially with the ensemble change. That will make it even better with this low base handling of 43. So moving on in the TWAB, Divinity reduced from a 30% weaken to a 15% weaken. A lot of people were up in arms on Twitter, yelling at each other, calling each other casuals and elitist, and just bad takes on both sides, but ultimately Bungie seems to agree that Divinity does too much for endgame PvE and has reduced the weaken. So now you might be able to use Tether or some other sort of a Sunder, Tractor Cannon, etc. to eke out higher damage. But I still don't think this will be enough for day one rating if I do comment on it now. Still seems like it's going to be the move because hitting precisions through all this flinch is kind of crazy. And that will be mentioned way later in this TWAB. Next one is they answered some questions, various questions. This is one that I found interesting. The cold denial that Zurasold had an accuracy masterwork, does it do anything? Answer, no. Another big one was rangefinder. What is your opinion on rangefinder drastically changing the effective engagement distances on weapons? The zoom benefit already improves damage fall off and effective accuracy, but the aim assist fall off increase feels like a lot. And so they say we'll be removing the added aim assist fall off in mid-season balance pass. Mid-season. So that can happen very soon. The perk is ridiculously strong with just the zoom bonus. It doesn't need the increased aim assist fall off in addition to that. I think that's a fair take on this perk. Rangefinder for some players is a non-decision, especially if you're used to the extra zoom. Even over opening shot makes the first shot free for a crit, but rangefinder makes every shot feel like really easy to land. So that is definitely a fair addition, fair change. Next up is a host of mid-season balance changes. We're going to go through every single one of these because I thought most of them were impactful. So, sizable stability bump for auto rifles and trace rifles. I don't have a problem with auto rifle stability on M&K, but trace rifle stability still seems to jump out of your hand, even with 90 stability, 100 recoil direction, 100 accuracy. It gets flinched to oblivion. Trace rifles need a lot of love. And in fact, I think I have a trace rifle video going up tomorrow, so you can see what I'm talking about in that. Ultimately, I think trace rifles should get like plus 100 AE or something crazy like that to make them have a special purpose and not just in a slightly longer range SMG. That's how they feel with how hard it is to maintain criticals through flinch and whatnot. Moving on. Small buff to critical hit damage on adaptive frame pulse rifles and precision frame auto rifles. I don't think either of these changes will push either of these frames into meta relevance, but adaptive frame pulses were already decent with Radiant builds, specifically Radiant Frosties. Could show you that right now, in case you want to start building one for the future change. Okay, and while that's transferring, let's continue. Slightly reduce effective range of pulse rifles at low to mid stat values. I don't know if this is a great change because it kind of makes hand cannons a better choice for the low to mid stat values, But maybe it's just saying you previously didn't have to spec into range on pulse rifles, and now you do. But the issue is, I was already speccing into high range, so I don't know. Nerfs to Jade Rabbit in no time to explain ease of use. It did not specify what that meant, and if you notice, my Titan had a no time to explain equip because it is the best weapon in PvP right now. For the longest time, no time to explain has been, I'm not even going to say a sleeper pick, because among the top players, they knew and they used it. It's just a really, really good weapon with the alternate win condition of stacking up the bonus damage without the need for a kill. And that's what makes no time very strong. So what I would hope that they're doing is have the buddy perk either go down for hitting a body shot. Pretty much that. Just if you're missing heads, perk goes down. And maybe less total. Make it really reward precision. And especially if full auto is coming off no time to explain, I'm not going to accidentally shoot another burst. It's going to be nice. So anyway, this is what you should probably use with adapted pulse rifles. What it does is it cycles acrobat dodge to maintain radiant all the time, and it makes a bad archetype like an adaptive pulse very, very usable. Nerfs to Jade Rabbit. High key, Jade Rabbit isn't even the best scout rifle. The best scout rifle is Skyburner's Oath. The second best scout rifle, Transfiguration. You heard it here first. Continuation of the Lord of Wolves rework. I used Lord of Wolves, it wasn't too good. I would rather use a fusion rifle in almost every instance. I could see Lord of Wolves still being good with Invis though, because it doesn't have a scope glint, so people can't even tell if you have your primary or your Lord of Wolves out, which makes it especially strong with Invis. Rocket launcher blast radius buff, glaive damage resistance nerf, prayer hand emoji, hands up emoji. This is great. Hope it's actually impactful. This is one my M&K friends need to listen up for. Sidearm, aim assist, fall off buff. In other words, we might start seeing yellow numbers on sidearms now on M&K. Could. No promises, but this could be the change that makes them feel competitive with submachine guns for M&K players. For controller players, it's already good. It's going to be even better. Though I'm going to read something later that might make you wonder about some sidearms. A sniper flinch rework. Going to mention that again later. Very small tweaks to submachine guns outperforming their intended ranges. Small decrease to high impact scout rifle damage. As long as it's still hitting 68, at the very least, they're still going to be competitive. Some outliers that have zoom levels outside their normal parameters are being brought back in line. So when I see this, my head immediately goes to Escape Velocity with its 16 zoom, goes to Drang with its 14 zoom. And then there are a couple more that have some like wild zoom factor for no reason, but those are the first two that come to mind. So if you really enjoy those weapons, expect them to probably get taken down to a normalized level. Maybe this also means Cold Denial is going up, not sure. Risk Runner PvP arc damage resistance, reduction in PvP, stayed the same in PvE. Then additional Season 19 changes. Removing shotgun randomness, improved hit detection on glaives, both of those changes incredible. Reworking, changing 20 weapon perks, and changing 20 exotic weapons. That makes me worried for cleaning out my vault, because I do get rid of a lot of stuff lately. This is an important note for me. Do trace rifles have accuracy bloom as you hold down the trigger? No. Yet, if I'm shot by any weapon, I'm looking at the ceiling. The flinch, the flinch, the flinch. Here we go. For sniper rifle flinch, we have dramatically increased the time it takes for the reticle to reset back to center after taking damage, which in playtest has seen a marked decrease in the amount of times players are able to shoot through the flinch. We also greatly decreased PvE flinch to counter this. Remember the first couple notes I said about Divinity having the weakened nerf? Well, this might be the more important change to the endgame PvE meta. If you can actually shoot the crit of a boss without getting flinched to oblivion, well, maybe Divinity isn't even necessary now. A note, this will not prevent players from trading with the sniper rifle on the first shot, nor will it hurt players using sniper rifles who disengage to allow their reticle to reset before peeking again, but it should hopefully address the instances of hitting somebody using a sniper rifle with multiple crits only to get sniped through it. So when they say trading in quotation marks, I'm going to try to read between the lines here. What I think they mean is normal networking things where there is some delay, and even though you shot first, on their screen you shot about the same time, which is enough to trade. My problem with the sniper flinch is I am shooting well before even like a quarter-second delay. There is no reason that they're snapping this fast back to my head. I'm usually trading out on the second bullet hitting. So I hope that this tangibly makes a difference. If it doesn't, I think they're going to have to look into more drastic measures. I'm not saying descope. And also they said we've greatly reduced the PvE flinch to counter this. So even if they did do descope, that doesn't mean it's going to descope in PvE. But another one could be severely affect accuracy when taking damage or low health or something like that with the sniper rifle. Just an inherent thing to it. Because at the high end of the skill spectrum, sniper rifles and linear fusions run the game. You can't peek any lane, you can't challenge anything because not many people miss their shots. Okay, moving on. If this change plays out successfully in the game itself outside of testing, we will try to migrate it over to special LFRs, which are a problem. The special LFRs are like a heavy LFR, except they're special. There, I said it. Past that, I didn't really take anything else from this TWAB. So, reading this to say I did. See you on stream.